Dawn of the Dead, 2004, is directed by Zack Snyder, and it's revolving around a nurse who barely escaped her husband after he got infected by a little girl on rollerblades. And then it's revolving around an officer who found her just barely alive after she crashed her car into a tree. And basically, they meet up with three other survivors and they camp out inside a mall to try and survive. And they also communicate with people outside, such as a guy named Andy who is trapped on the roof of a gun shop, and they communicate by holding up signs. I never actually got the chance to see the original George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead because it's not available on any streaming services, and the physical copies of it are very scarce and expensive as a result. So this was the defining Dawn of the Dead for me. This is the one that I've come to know and love. And this film is really entertaining. And I'll start off with positives here. This is some of the best cinematography I've seen in a zombie film. Just from the first act alone, where they have that shot of the little girl in rollerblades slowly revealing herself to be a zombie and the door creaking, and also the lighting, putting more emphasis on the shadows as she's slowly coming out. That was one of the best shots in this film. And the tracking shot of Anna looking around through the neighborhood and seeing all the zombies that are running around and eating people, that was extremely effective. They also had some great tracking shots as they were walking through the mall, looking for any zombies that they needed to kill off. Man, the cinematography of this film was brilliant. There were some moments where the camera felt a bit shaky, but most of those were during the scenes where they're using binoculars to look at signs. So in a way it was kind of useful for portraying that scene. This is also some of the best makeup design and practical effects I've ever seen. The zombies here look brilliant and scarily realistic. I also love the screenplay of this film. I think a lot of the dialogue here is really good. It feels very realistic, especially with Kenneth's character. The way they wrote the dialogue with his character, a lot of it felt kind of Tarantino-esque almost, like something a person would actually say in that situation. Like when he's talking about a funeral and how he didn't actually feel sorry for the people who were being buried. And I love the way he made it like an analogy to how he doesn't believe in it anymore, and there are some things worse than death, like waiting in the mall to be overrun by zombies, and how he wanted to escape and leave to a safer place. That was the perfect way to close the second act, and one of the best lines of dialogue in the film. This film also had a brilliant soundtrack. For example, the use of When the Man Comes Around, performed by Johnny Cash, and the way they use that in the opening credits as they're showing some quick cuts of the zombies. That was perfect. It was very ironic tone, but it was exactly what this film needed. It almost felt self-aware in a sense too, which made it even better. I also love the use of the song Down with the Sickness as they were showing the compilations of each character and how they're getting used to the environment with zombies and surviving in the mall, basically. It was the perfect tone. It was like ironic, but also perfectly fit in at the same time. I love how this film is self-aware. It knows exactly what it wants to be. And it's not really trying to waste your time. It's really well paced, and they know exactly how to make a damn good remake of a zombie film. This is very entertaining, which I can appreciate. This film is very rewatchable as a result. However, I do have some issues with this film. For one, I think the security guards that were introduced in the first act were very unnecessarily aggressive towards the beginning, almost like to a point where it felt unrealistic. Like, these were security guards at a mall. Why are they all of a sudden trying to keep people out of this floor when they just want a place to stay and camp out to survive? It didn't really make much sense. It felt kind of forced almost. I also would have liked to have seen many of the logical aspects explored more, especially the idea of a zombie bite causing an infection. Like, this would have been discovered by scientists almost immediately, and it would have been widely covered by the press really quickly. It doesn't seem realistic that it would have taken them that long to find out that a zombie bite is what transfers the infection. And I also would have liked to have seen them establish a time frame for how long it takes for a person to turn into a zombie after you've been bitten, especially with films like 28 Days Later, where they establish a time frame such as 10 to 20 seconds. and it was consistent. Even Train to Busan, which didn't exactly establish a time frame, they were still very consistent about it. Dawn of the Dead is not consistent with like how long it takes to turn into a zombie after you've been bitten or scratched or whatever. It just feels so unrealistic as a result. I also wish they actually spent more time with the first act and actually took more of the time to go into the backstory with each of the characters the same way they did with the nurse. And it would have been a lot better from a story and a character development standpoint, because the character development that did take place in the second act kind of felt forced and rushed as a result of the fact that they only really went into the life and backstory of the main character Anna and none of the other characters. I could literally go on nitpicking this film all day, but I don't want to, because these nitpicks are really all things I could put aside when watching this, because this is so enjoyable to watch. The zombie thrills here are amazing. They're so high stakes, they're very tight, and the cinematography is brilliant, as I said, and this is just a really damn entertaining zombie movie, and I can appreciate that for what it is. This film is overall brilliant in that sense. I'm giving Dawn of the Dead 2004 a solid A-. But as always, I hope you enjoyed this review. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you in the next video.